So, as you know, we have Kartik with us, who had a 750 score some time back in August, and he had a massive struggle with verbal, massive, I mean, genuinely massive struggle, and he really overcame the odds. And after this, he applied, and he has gotten through some of the really, really top schools. So, he'll be talking about his journey. Yes, Kartik, welcome, first of all, and congratulations for the recent admits. Just tell us which colleges you made it to finally, please.
As of now, I've got admit from Fuqua, Tepper, and Darden. And
Oh,
yeah,
all three outstanding. Wow.
yeah,
Any
and I'm waiting for few
scholarships?
more. Yeah, I've got scholarship from Fuqua and Tepper.
Superb, superb to know. So, what has the experience been of applying? Because obviously everyone talks about the GMAT experience, but let me also ask you about the application experience, and then I'll obviously talk about the GMAT journey, which has been an arduous one for you, probably. Yes, tell me, please.
I think definitely like from the application perspective, there are quite a few factors from GMAT, then a resume, and then essays, and then making your application in terms of extracurricular activities and other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then finally the interview. But I feel that GMAT has really played an important role in my
Mm-hmm.
applications because when I spoke with the current students, they always used to say, like Indian engineer male, you pretty much need 740 plus at least.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first step, and then after that, Authority had really helped me in preparing my profile, how to pitch my profile to the admission committee,
Mm-hmm.
and connecting with students, everything. So I feel GMAT was a really important factor there for me.
Right, right. Great to know, Karthik. So just take us through your journey, especially because verbal was a major struggle area. You can talk about quant also, how you prepared and everything. But and what was it that was so challenging for you that you were not able to break a particular barrier in your mocks, and eventually you did. So let us know.
So I feel I might have done pretty much all the mistakes that an MBA aspirant can do in GMAT.
Mm-hmm.
So my final score was more of product of dedication, consistency, and approach, I would say. So in terms of dedication, as I mentioned, like for me it was a must-have, like the good GMAT score in order to get a scholarship as well, because that is something that I heard from admission committee. So initially when I started my prep, like first call with you, you mentioned that it probably can take 2 months, but
Mm-hmm.
3 hours on a daily basis. But I somehow, I used to miss that. But then once I approached the deadline, application deadline, and for me it was really important to get that, so it automatically came to me, the dedication and in terms of
So
giving
initially,
it time
sometimes you were
daily.
not consistent, is what you're saying.
That's right. Consistent, and also the time. So probably, when I took a self-paced course. So I
Mm-hmm.
used to, go through the video. Probably the video was sub few
Mm-hmm.
videos or 4 hours long. So I would, break it at two. But then eventually I realized that, it's like the combination of both, like getting things done in one setting, so that you register everything and then eventually master, like practice more on it, and the
Right, right.
pre-work and the post-work.
So what
So
mistakes did you do? You said you did all the mistakes possible. Let us learn from your mistakes then. Yeah.
So I think first of all, I started like even before I approached you, I started my journey with the official guide, which I felt it's not that great, as in like there were concepts that I was lacking. But
Mm-hmm.
then after once I got you the self-paced course, I wanted to attack all three sections like RC, CR, and SC. So I used to go try to do all three of them like one day at a time. So one day
Mm-hmm.
RC, one day CR, but that didn't work. After that, I used to select instead of rejecting the wrong answers. I
Mm-hmm.
used to just select them. And then also I would say that it was more on the practicing. So I used to keep on practicing rather than mastering the concepts in itself. So those were more of the qualitative part of it. But then when I come back to the individual sections in verbal, for RC I used to understand the passages. So in case if the passage was long, I used to take a lot of time, and then sometimes if I didn't understand it, my confidence would go down, and I would automatically do the questions wrong. But then Octave really helped me there. The topic wise practice,
Mm-hmm.
that and the practice really helped me to get the speed on it. And
Right.
then SC was again something that I used to
You
struggle
said
with, but then
CR, you meant at that time, right?
yes,
The
CR, yeah, sorry.
CR topic
Yeah.
wise. And then the topic wise practice definitely must have helped, right? To get the speed
Yes,
also, I guess that is another thing. How
yes,
about
that's true.
sentence correction? That was a major struggle for you,
That's true.
right?
So I think the concepts plus 100 questions, the PDF
Mm-hmm.
really helped me, because that is, I think, one stop for RC, SC. Because
Mm-hmm.
even before a day, I used to go through it, revise it properly, and like
Mm-hmm.
it has everything that one needs for SC. So that was one thing, and then again, the latest 700 to 800 questions help there. So I
Okay.
think just following the prime, initially I used to go with my gut feeling, this sounds good, so let me go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think the prime really helped me. So
Okay, so okay, you took a bit longer than usual, as I know. But if one were to be consistent, what is your guess now? Now that you got a score, one should take, if you go really by the course, because many people do it in 2, 3 months only. So I'm just asking. I mean, are they exaggerating, or are they lucky, or is it really possible?
not really. I think it's definitely possible. So in my, I think my final score, I just took around a month or two, and it's more like the going through all the concepts and then practicing it. But well, it's really important, I feel, to be doing it on daily basis. So yeah, I mentioned about consistency, right? So in some days I used to do an hour or two, but then I used to compensate that in
Mhm.
that week itself. So that really helped me getting the
All right.
pace.
And just take us through the exact material that you would have gone through in verbal for each of the areas, RC, CR, SC, and then the practice part and the mocks part, and then your exam experience. I mean, one by one, the whole flow of things. Yeah.
So I think I was shared some Excel with the individual, like the timeline itself. So
Right.
I feel that really helped. Like just going, following the
Hmm.
pattern, whatever is given. Like first of all, going doing the pre-work, going through videos, and then the
Yeah. Yeah.
post-work, and then
Yeah.
finally the practice materials. But as I mentioned, for RC, 700 to 800 questions, the latest
Mhm.
700 to 800 helped me. And in fact, on GMAT itself, like I saw one of the questions from there. So I think
Mhm.
once I understood like how to approach a problem, irrespective of whatever was given, I
Mhm.
think I was able to handle there. CR topic wise really helped me a lot, and then SC also, like the 100 concept plus 100 questions, which
Mhm.
is covered in the classes itself. But then after that, I needed a lot of practice to improve my speed. So I went through the 700 to 800 SC1 as well.
Okay. Anything related to your mock experience or the real exam? Was anything unusual this time? Like,
So actually, I would say the long passages. So in the practice ones, passages were short, but then because I had gone through Octave and then I just got used to it. So in fact, while I was practicing, in fact, I tried just going reading the question, skimming through the passage without
Mhm.
understanding much. So intentionally, I tried that, and eventually it came to me. So even the long passage wasn't that
So just
complex for me.
describe your exam experience. Like, did you see more of RC, more of SC, or was there anything unusual? And then Quant also, just let us know. Was there anything unusual this time ever?
Nothing unusual, I would say. Just that I think the conditional statement on RC, like conditional questions, were pretty common. But I think that's pretty common nowadays, like the
Mm-hmm.
long passages and conditional statement. But otherwise, I think it
So
was
that
pretty much.
anything that I think probably I had anyway taken a session
Yes,
on it, and I
yes,
told
that's
that
right.
this is already a trend. So maybe you
Correct.
were prepared.
Yeah, that's true.
And right, really one of the most awesome journeys, obviously a little prolonged and a little painful for you, as I probably remember all the things that you've done. But eventually it has paid off, and the kind of scholarships you've got. So just anything that you would say, don't do this, and do this. Would you have some three pieces of advice on either side? Like,
Uh,
don't do this, and then
yeah.
do this.
So I think don't do, I would say, like don't get fixated, as you mentioned, on selecting the right answer. I think just following the approach that you teach. And
Mhm.
initially I was skeptical, like how can one get the RC right even without
Mhm.
understanding? So, but then once I practiced, like understood,
Mhm.
like, as I mentioned, like mastering the concept and then practicing. That
Mhm.
is a do on it, but not do is more just keep on blindly practicing, like the opposite of
Mhm.
it. So that is, I think, the key. And then I would say that just go with the elimination process. So
Mhm.
once you eliminate the wrong answers, you automatically get the right one. And if you want further in practicing, like I used to understand, is this the right
Mhm.
answer if I keep on selecting? So that helped me in both ways. But then, yeah, I would say do a time practice, because as I mentioned, like in SC and RC, I required
Mhm.
improvement in timing, and even in CR, I would say. So I think for timing as a practice is the key.
So if anybody in the audience has a question for Kartik, you can go ahead and ask him, because I think you might have a different way or different thought process around it as a candidate. So if you want to ask anyone, please go ahead and talk.
I have one question, please.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So, Karthik, first of all, congratulations. What kept you motivated, especially during the lows? What were you going back to? What was the source of motivation throughout the journey?
As I mentioned, I think the GMAT was the key for my applications because I spoke with the current students, and when I went to the admission, like the sessions organized by admission committee, for scholarship, GMAT is an important criteria, and I knew that I have to get this done. So even when like I just used to go through the videos, understand. I try to understand where I'm going low in terms of if I was getting things wrong, I used to understand the concept, go back, take a step back, understand the concept well, and again then come back to practice. So I think that was the key, like trying to understand the concepts more is more important than just
And
blindly
then another
practicing.
thing, as his goal was very clear that he wanted scholarships, very simple. So when you are very clear with that objective and when you're not hitting the mark, then you know that this is the only bottleneck I have to crack, and then it becomes easier in your head that that's it. This is all that I have right now to crack. Maybe that helped. The singular mission becomes anything else anybody would like to ask in case? Because he's got scholarships to some of the top schools here. And are you looking at a STEM MBA now, or are you looking at regular sort of, because some of the
STEM
schools
MBA.
STEM MBA clearly. Anyone else has a question here? Please do ask.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Kartik, were you able to remove any of your red flags in your application because of the score? And if yes, then what were they?
So I think 750. So I applied with my 750 score. So that was pretty much. I was told that it's not a bottleneck anymore. So I think other than that, Authory really helped me, getting the profile fine, as in adding the specific points that I missed out, drafting my essay as well. So that really helped.
So see, I'll just also say the red flags in terms of what could be a red flag first of all, and remember that the score alone never fixes a red flag. If it is there, it is there. But yes, if they are holistically considering application and the score of one other candidate is lower than his score, all things being equal, he would be given a preference, something like that. But it's a little subjective to say that can GMAT offset the red flag. It's a really difficult one to really pick. Any other thing here anybody would like to talk to him about? Let me know.
Sir, I had a question
Yeah.
for Kartik. So, Kartik, you mentioned that long passages in RC and conditional statement questions are a trend that you observed in the RC section. So, any tips you would have for us to prepare for this trend or anything that helped you specifically in this regard?
So I remember Sandeep sir had taken one separate session for it, and there's a separate PDF for conditional as well, which was shared later. So so for RC, I would say go through Octave, as in don't try to understand passage in detail, as in definitely understanding is important, but then you should not lose your confidence just because the passage is long. You are taking a lot of time to understand it. So just skim through it, try to understand the gist of it. That is where the opinion contradiction, like the key words that are there in the passage, should pull your attention to specific questions. And then for condition RC, again, I would CR, I would say the conditional statement, the PDF that was shared, that really helped me.
Okay, did you practice LSAT for longer passage? Just asking because some people say you should, so I'm just asking.
No, I had not done that because I felt that like I automatically got comfortable with the Octave process. So
Fine,
the 700 to 800, in fact, I practice all the questions using Octave, so
right.
that helped.
Anyone else has a question here? Please ask. Yes, please. Anyone? All right. So I think Kartik, really thanks for your time. I know you are having some emergency as well, probably. So go ahead, and I think you should savor this success for some time, because now you got substantial scholarship and great admit. But still, I think there's a long battle ahead. Is application and visa and even the other part of the finances and so on. So I think all the very best. Are you applying to any other schools or anything like that in round
I'm
two?
still thinking. It's not finalized yet, but yeah, I'm planning for M7 as well.
Oh, superb, superb. Now that you have scored, the profile is anyway there. I think you should definitely, at least you needed to taste some success, slightly lower than M7 maybe, and then now I'll be going for M7. M7 should happen. One or two of them definitely you should go for in the second round. All right. Keep me posted with whatever journey happens later, and all the very best. Thanks for your time.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.